Chicago is the third largest city in the US, and back in 1984, it decided to rejuvenate districts that were labeled as blighted. To do this, the city instituted a plan called Tax Increment Financing, or TIF. The goal was to spur development in the poor areas of the city.
And any increase in property values doesn't go to local governments, doesn't go to schools. It's diverted to economic development, and right now it's basically at the sole discretion of the mayor on how those funds are used.
The basic idea behind TIF was to provide tax funds to encourage developers to build in distressed neighborhoods. TIF programs like this exist in 49 states, but each state differs in exactly how they're administered. These variances make it hard to present TIF as a national problem, but it is. In Chicago, for example, a neighborhood is first designated as blighted. Then that neighborhood's local property tax income is frozen for 23 years, and any future increase in local taxes is taken from the blighted neighborhood and put into the mayor's TIF fund. More than 500 projects in Chicago have received TIF funds.
Roughly 50% of the TIF funds are not flowing to these areas that are, quote unquote, blighted, that they're instead going to affluent areas where you have a lot of businesses, where businesses would be investing and locating anyway.
Since 2006, Chicago public schools have been deprived of $2.5 billion in tax revenues diverted to TIF. Lincoln Yards is one such TIF project.
It's the largest development the city of Chicago has considered in decades. The North Side's $6 billion, 52-acre Lincoln Yards project is one step closer to reality. The mixed-use development is expected to bring in an additional 30,000 residents to an already dense Lincoln Park and Bucktown neighborhoods.
Well, I told you, mama, ain't gonna tell you no more.
The Hideout is an historic local music club that lies within the $6 billion Lincoln Yards project. Tim and Katie Tutton have owned the club since the 1990s, and it's been a neighborhood hangout for nearly 100 years.
That bar in the front has been there since the 1880s, and it was always called the Hideout since the license name 1934.
It was a community house.
The city designated the neighborhood as blighted. Local residents scoffed at the idea.
This is actually prime property. We're talking riverfront property. I mean, Lincoln Yards is really sandwiched in between two of the most affluent neighborhoods in Chicago.
So this is a thriving business. It's been here for as long as we've been here, 25 years before that. And it exemplifies the type of light manufacturing that's been going on in this neighborhood forever.
When you come during the day, you can't find a place to park because there's so many employees. So in this building, it was a beautiful, beautiful brick building. They probably had 10 to 14 employees.
The building got sold before we knew it. That weekend, they tore it down. By Sunday, everything was cleared out and hauled away. So it really sent a message that the developers were moving fast.
The Lincoln Yards project threatens many of the existing local businesses. But developers told Tim and Katie that they want to preserve the Hideout. They said that the Hideout was an enticement for the type of clientele they want to attract, and Tim and Katie would get more customers as well.
The developers, they have this theme that they constantly say, you're gonna make a lot of money. And when they tell us you're gonna make money, it's the opposite of the kind of real values that we really hold and cherish. To have a community of people that do things because they love it and they believe in it, that's where you have really depth of a life.
We're not against development. We are against the use of public tax dollars that are subsidizing a private luxury development.
So the city is being influenced not by what is good for the neighborhoods, for all of these people that can't find affordable housing, that live throughout the south and west side of Chicago. It is being driven by wealthy developers who literally got together with our mayor and said, sell us that property. We will build luxury condos. It'll be billions of dollars worth. You kick in $1 billion TIF, and we will have this amazing development.
And just to put in perspective, the amount we're talking about here, nearly a third of all property tax revenues collected by the city of Chicago are now diverted into TIF districts. We just set a record, $841 million in TIF districts in the city of Chicago in the most recent year.
The property was sold to a developer, and then the developer said, now that we bought it, we need a TIF. And the TIF is usually the incentive to get a developer to purchase a property. They knew that money that could go to school children on the south and west side, that the economic development that could save our city. And they decided, no, we don't care about those people. We want it right here in this majority white, wealthy area. We're gonna push through a TIF.
The full city council approved the Lincoln Yards project about 15 minutes ago. Activists are vowing to amp up their opposition. Protesters blocked off part of City Hall, and they also packed the hallways on 2 floors inside. But despite the outrage, a swift decision by the Finance Committee this morning set up the full council votes, which went through as expected.
The most frustrating thing about the TIF program is that it enables the pay-to-play politics that are so widespread in Chicago. We're taking away money from core government services, we're taking away money from schools and repairing roads and things that everybody in the community can use, and we're essentially using that money to offset costs for wealthy, well-connected business interests who really don't need the help. The use of these funds have typically been a slush fund for the mayor of Chicago, both Emanuel and Daley prior to him, to sort of reward people who are politically connected and possibly support their campaigns.
This was not done democratically, and it was not done for the majority of the kids and the working people in the south and west side. It was done by a small group of people so that they could economically benefit $6 billion.
These are major decisions being decided by a very small group of people that are motivated by their own personal monetary gain. This is not for the best of our city. It's for the best of a few. And that just is egregious.
About that certain door.